in about four minutes. So right now we live on Facebook, so everybody can hear what we're talking about. I'm finna share the Taylor House Publishing broadcast of the video, so you can go to my page or you can go to Taylor House Publishing and share it on your page. But yeah, we definitely live right now. So matter of fact, I'm about to share it now. So if you go to my
Sure.
So if you go to my page, everybody should be able to hear it.
You said I could share it, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to share it now.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to share it now. We're not going live on the show yet. Okay, I'm saying, are you yeah, I know how to switch it on. Yeah, so hold on. So yeah, you should be able to share from my page, Taylor House Publishing page, or you go to my page and share it. You should see it right now. Make sure your volume is low.
Yeah. I'm sharing it from Taylor House Publishing.
Yeah, or you can go to Taylor House Publishing page or my page, but it's definitely live on my page. And I welcome you. Yeah, or you can just go to my page, Richard Taylor, and you'll see it.
I got it.
Yeah, you can share it. But so yeah, right now what I'm finna do is switch the microphone, so you ain't gonna be able to hear me.
So I should be able to see it from your page now, right?
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you should see it on my page.
WBISLP 1069, Winterville, Ayden, Grifton, Southside, Greenville, North Carolina.
I try to be a better man, but folks just don't understand. Trying to do all I can to deal with this addiction in me. Lord, I want to change. I can't stay the same. But the sins that in my vein is trying its best just to kill me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are now turned into Awesome Radio 106.9 FM. I am the host of the U-Turn Show, Richard Taylor. I want to welcome our listening audience, also our live audience that is viewing from Facebook, Facebook Live. Also, our internet audience that is logged on to our internet website, www.wbisawesomeradio.org. Make sure you go to the website and download our app on Google Play, also at the Apple Store and on Alexa. All three platforms are available for you to download on your mobile device. And also feel free to call in. This is a live show. Call in 252-756-2008. If you do want to interact with the show, I have a very special guest. I want to thank God, first of all, for allowing us to have this platform. I want to thank God for my brother who is doing some amazing things. I want to introduce today's guest, Mr. Everett Mcnair. How you doing today, sir?
All right, what's up with you, Rick?
Okay, I can't call him, man. It's such a pleasure to have you on, man. We've been talking about doing this for
Yeah, man.
I finally got you in the seat, so it's definitely a pleasure to have such a innovator as I call you, man. Let the people know what it is you do right now, as far as your business and everything that you have going on.
But right now, as far as the fashion company, we're online e-commerce. I'm looking for a brick and mortar establishment to start up. An online website is good, but only if you're a strong giant. Can you excel from it? It's a slow start off. So we're in the process of transitioning or expanding it into a brick and mortar establishment, as well as some campaigning, uh, different types of marketing. Um, I was on the phone today with a marketing firm out of LA. We was talking some startup things.
Okay.
As far as the music, well, that's something. But as far as the music, I have an artist profile set, in a professional standard. So that's a goal accomplished. Um, we're doing videos. We're basically trying to trend right now. You know, music has taken on a whole different structure from when I was really involved into it as from the fan perspective.
Hmm.
Um, it's streaming now. You know, monetizing on platforms and whatnot, and it's a process. So we're into different types of marketing to maximize our streams, maximize everything we're doing as far as social media wise.
Okay. And the name of your company is Certified Officials Fashion.
Certified Official Entertainment LLC.
Okay.
However, our publishing is BMI, and our doing business as official music.
Okay.
This is how we get the COM certified official music. This is our DBA.
Okay. And so we this is the U-turn show. We talk about people who have made some changes in their lives. And so being where you are now, you weren't always in this position. So you've underwent a lot, you've overcame a lot of obstacles to get to the position you're at. So let's start with there. About your upbringing and as a child. Uh did you ever see yourself in the position that you are today, coming up as a youngster? And how was your childhood?
No, sir. I never thought in a million years when I was a child, I would be in music or in fashion. I always wanted to be a lawyer, believe it or not. That's why I used to tell my uncles and aunt, they like, what you want to be? I want to be a lawyer or an architect or something like that. But, coming up, I never went that way, Um, that came to be a pretty I came up just like the average black in this society, um public housing, living in the projects, whatnot. My mother was on a welfare recipient. um she was my father was in the home. She wasn't a single parent. My
Okay.
mother was in the home. um they wasn't married, so you had breakups going on, get back together, whatnot. But broken, and it caused me to take to the streets, for uh for I say for belonging,
Okay.
you know. And in the streets I found some bad things going on, you know. But to me at that time, it wasn't bad things. In my mind, the way I thought then, it was something that I needed to do, or something big, or something that was dope or cool on these attributes. And so I started following these trends, these street trends, you know, drug dealing, gang banging, gun slinging.
So what age were you when you first started getting out there in the streets? And what projects were you born in, or did you grow up in? And as a matter of fact, I forgot to mention he is from the hometown of Goldsboro, North Carolina. So I know him. I
I
know
was
it.
like 12.
He was like
I
12.
was like 12 years old, man. 12 years old.
Okay. And so as you get started to get out there, what type of things did you pick up, or what type of things did you begin to get involved in from the age of 12 to your early teen years?
You could imagine, because at 12 I had my own gun. I had access to drugs. I was in the street around bigger dudes. I like to be around the older heads. You know what I'm saying? And I'm running up under them, around them all the time. So, I was a street dude. I was in the mama told me, said, look, if you ain't in the house by 12, don't even come home. Stay where you at.
Okay.
I ain't opening my door.
And is that what you did most of the times, or a lot of times? You stayed out in the streets?
Yeah, I stayed in the streets because I knew I ain't want to come in before 12, and she ain't open her door after 12. So I stayed where I was at. I really.
Yeah. So did you so I know a lot of us, you know what I'm saying, a lot of our peers even stop going to school. At what age did you stop going to school, or did you graduate, or did you stay in school, or was the allure of the street?
Stop going. I mean, I ducked school like everybody, but I ain't stopped going.
Okay.
I went to school, but they expelled me. They expelled me from school, bro. They kicked me out of school.
All right. What do you remember the offense that it was, or was it just a series of events that added up?
Well, if y'all want me to keep all the way 100, right?
Keep it 100. We got to keep it. It's the U-turn show. We got to keep it.
I took a gun to school.
Okay.
I was going to assassinate a man on lunch.
At what age was this?
I was in high school. I was in 11th grade.
Okay.
And I messed around and told my man. He went in and the establishment and told Mr. Whitley, the principal, and then.
Okay.
Back then I was mad with him. I wanted to hurt him because he did it. But after the pain growing up and whatnot, I'm glad he did it, because I was gonna assassinate that man on lunch.
Okay, so what did the man do to cause you to want to hurt him so bad, if you don't mind getting into that?
He tried to stalk me.
Okay.
Yeah, he tried to stalk me, put the muscle down.
Okay. So at that point, you felt like, if you didn't, take care of the situation, then he was going to keep trying to extort you.
Well, we were teenagers, in the street, whatnot, materialistic types, jewelry, want to extort you like you soft or something.
Uh-huh.
You feel me? You gonna give in to them, something.
Okay. So you mentioned that instance, right? So you was about 16.
Nah. I was older than that.
Okay. So
I was about 7 to 18.
About 7 to 18. So you
Yeah, about 17.
All right, so you mentioned that situation, but it actually was a situation that really occurred that actually sent you to prison and for murder. And how old were you when that happened? Was that or was that around the same time?
When that happened. But that's a different situation, because even to this day, but I didn't commit the crime itself. I did do the time for the crime. I did get in a what you call it, alpha plea, where you plead guilty because it's in the best of your interest, but you maintain your innocence.
Okay.
And
So
to
you
this day, I'm still maintaining that.
okay,
You
definitely,
Okay.
definitely. So how old were you when you took that plea? And
I was like 19. I took that plea. I really can't get deep into it, but
yeah.
it was either take that and wear the charge, or uh, be put in some type of harm's way. You know, so I just went on to lay down for it.
So you was 18 years old, and how long did you do as a result of that plea, that alpha plea for the crime of murder?
I did 5.5 years altogether for that.
So
Um, through
how
voluntary
how
manslaughter.
how hard was doing that time, and at a young age, because I mean, looking at 5.5 years, your first time, I guess, going, that seems like a long time. So what was your mind frame of, when you got that time? How did you think you was going to go through it?
That was my first bid. I
Yeah.
was 19 years old. I was scared to death, man. Yeah. I was on the bus scared, man. You know,
So
but you get there and whatnot, and after you process and whatnot, settle down, whatnot. You feel me? You know,
so you
it's all how you do your time.
so you pretty much adapted. You adapted to that, right? You adapted to
You
that
have to. You have to, especially if
lifestyle.
you got like long term. You gotta adapt. You feel me? It's gonna be your home for some years. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta adapt.
Yeah, so we were talking a little bit before the interview, and you actually told me some things I didn't know. So
Like what?
you finished that sentence, right? And you got out at the age, how old would you say you was? About what, 20, 24, 25?
I got out. I was 23.
23. So what happened within the next year?
Man, I ain't even stay out of here.
So you didn't
I ain't even see a year in the street.
so you did you did a 5 year, and then within a year, what happened? You caught more additional charges.
Yeah, I got out. See, if you go to prison, right, they have all types of programs there. Self-help
Mm-hmm.
program. To rehabilitate. But a lot of people who go to prison don't apply themselves. And back then I didn't apply myself neither.
Okay.
I had a big head because I felt like uh, uh, after I get off this bed, I'm gonna go back to getting some money. I'm sitting in there really putting together a business plan, but it was all about going to the streets selling drugs. You see what I'm saying? And because my mind was on that, and I was planning that, but I ain't even stay out of here. I
So,
caught drug charges.
so within a year of getting out, what you call two drug charges, or one, or
Yeah. I think I had a couple of them pending, bro.
so you had a couple pending, and then so as a result of those charges, how much time did you get sentenced in because of that?
Well, at 25, at the age of 25, I was a habitual felon.
Habitual felon. So explain to the layman is what a habitual felon is.
When I caught that case, I was facing a habitual felon, my first habitual felon. And I was facing 25 years if I'd have went to trial and blew.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
so
blue
this,
means he's being found guilty. For those that don't know.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you go to trial and in fact get found guilty of the crime.
Okay.
And I ain't want to chance that. I ain't feel like, 25 years, that's and the old law, that was a class A life sentence. So, it was a class B. So I was like, nah. I was like, I take the plea, which was 6 years. So I took the 6 years.
So you did. So you went. You did 5.5. Really stayed out for a year. Caught a couple more charges. Then you went back in the 6 years. Now, did your mindset change from that first time to that second time, or did you still have that mindset? Well, as soon as I get back out, I'm going right back to the street.
I stayed out after that. After that 6 years was up, you could say I had changed, right?
Okay.
Because I had the mindset to come out, and do right. I was studying then too, but peer pressure. I'm gonna say peer pressure what it was, because soon as the PO dropped me off, you pulled up, we're like, let's go. Hey, I ain't even put the bag or nothing.
So you mean soon as you said as soon as the PO dropped you off to the house, or
then pulled up. I'm talking about literally throw like 3,500 on the table. I'm finna take you shopping. Let's go. Just like that. We jumped in the car, we left. Just like that. You feel me?
So that was the allure right there. Okay, the 3,500. Okay, you know where your people's got the money from. We got $3,500 to take you shopping. Then that's just almost like I want that too. So was that the mindset that kind of made you say, or he just instant?
It really it's the anticipation of that day to come. You be counting it down.
Okay.
Then when they get there, it's like you can finally move how you want to move, and you give in to the pressure, man.
Yeah, and I'm a witness. I tell everybody too, like
that's what it is.
When you're sitting in prison or jail, you can have all the best intentions. When you don't have everything sitting in front of you, whether it's money, whether it's drugs, whether it's guns, whether it's gambling, whether it's girls, you can say, I'm gonna come out, ain't gonna do nothing.
You're not gonna change, right? Unless you change the way you think, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's where it started. Everything begins with the mind. You see what I'm saying? The mind is supreme, most dominant body.
Okay. So
if we don't change the way you see what I'm saying, we're only gonna come out of prison, go in the same places, be around the same people doing the same things.
So you said after that second time, then you jump right back in doing the same thing with the same people. Not even a blink.
Yeah, and you ignorant to it then. It's like it don't dawn on you. You want to do right. It's in your heart, but you got certain factors that environmental, your environment, your financial status, your family financial status, what's going on.
Everybody got their hands out too. Everybody expects you to come out right and be a man when you just spend a lot of time in an unmanly position. So that may cause you to do some things to kind of speed up the process of meeting those obligations or meeting those demands that people are putting on you.
The ego play a big part. The ego play a big part on us men. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you're right about that. We give into that egotistical way of thinking a lot.
Okay. So yeah, man. So we got about 30 seconds before we have to take our first station break. So we're going to come back on the other side of the break with, once again, Everett Mcnair, the CEO, Certified Official Fashions and Entertainment. We're going to talk in the next segment about, his final transition in the prison and how we use that final time to come out with the plan. But make sure y'all stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
At the
this is the best part right here, the transition.
Awesome Radio.
Are you confused by the bylaws of your church? Perhaps we can help. Stay tuned.
Legal advice you must not ignore. All ahead on today's Legal Alert. Here's attorney David Gibbs Jr.
Pastor Corey just heeded God's call and took over the pastorate at a new church. However, he was reviewing the church's bylaws to determine the proper procedure for an upcoming vote in the church, and he was absolutely entirely confused by what he was seeing. The bylaws were in bad shape. They were inconsistent and confusing. He called our lawyers at the Christian Law Association for some advice. Our attorneys were happy to review these bylaws and his new church and offer all the needed advice on interpretation and extremely needed amendments. We were even able to provide Pastor Corey a complete template, a sample of all the needed language that they should use. Bylaws have to make sense. What you for sure don't want to do is have them interpreted by someone who has no interest in honoring your faith. Be sure that your bylaws are up to date and reviewed on an annual basis. Our lawyers will be honored to help you. Be sure your bylaws keep a great testimony for Christ.
Why not get the answers you need for the legal question that's nagging you? Visit christianlaw.org. christianlaw.org.
How many languages? This is Ken Ham, inviting your family to visit our huge Noah's Ark in northern Kentucky. The Bible explains the origin of the thousands of languages spoken today. You see, after the flood, Noah's descendants refused to spread around the world, so God confused their language so they were forced to fill the earth. But how many languages did God create? Well, if you look at the genealogies in Genesis, it appears God created less than 100 new languages. Language analysts say all the thousands of languages today came from less than 100 original languages. Over time, these language families have changed into new languages that still bear similarity to one another. Like always, science confirms God's word from the very beginning.
Plan your visit to the full-size Noah's Ark at the Ark Encounter when you visit us at AnswersRadio.com. Children 10 and under are free this year. Go to our website at AnswersRadio.com.
Awesome Radio, 106.9 WBIS-LP.
Lord, I hope this ain't your plan for me to die up in these streets. Oh Lord, can you help me?
And yes, we are back here on Awesome Radio, 106.9 FM WBIS-LP. Once again, I am the host, Richard Taylor, on the U-Turn Show with special guest, Everett Mcnair. We were talking about his transition from prison, out of prison, back to prison, out of prison, and we're going to start right back here. So you finished doing your second 6-year term. You get out with the mindset to do right, but just don't have the strength to do right. So within a short period of time, you found yourself back behind bars.
Right. Well, after the second time, yeah, it was a short period. It was 4.5 years. So yeah, it was a short period.
Well, that's much longer than the first time.
Still back in prison, got in, somebody tried to kill me, bro. And that's what led to me going back to prison, at that time.
So somebody actually, tried to kill you where you hit, or did you dodge the bullets, or you just dodged the whole plan?
Yeah, I was hit, bro. I was shot multiple times.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so did you have any ill effects physically from that? As far as like long lasting injury that still plague you today?
And that's a blessing. You see what I'm saying? That's a blessing, man. And the many times I got shot, that's a blessing.
How many times did you get shot, if you don't mind me asking?
Shot 9 times, man.
Okay. And this was in a public
with 223 assault rifle.
Okay. And this was
some bull jive.
This was in Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Say what?
This happened in Goldsboro.
This happened at the store. Yes, sir. Goldsboro, North Carolina.
The corner store.
Most people know about that store, so
yeah.
It's called. It used to be called the Manhattan store. Yeah.
So how long did it take you to recover from such an attack?
About a month, man. I had a broken leg. One of the bullets broke my leg, and one of them came 2 inches from severing my femur. I could have bled out from that.
Okay.
But as far as damage, that's about the most damage I had. You see what I'm saying? Out of that many, getting hit that many times.
Okay. So being that you were here and being that I assume that you had every intentions of retaliating, was that kind of what led you back to prison? And how long after that attempt on your life were you back behind bars?
Well, that's what took me back. And I got a gun. They charged me for the gun I had on me shooting back.
Oh, okay.
So I was shooting back, but
back.
but they charged me for the gun.
Okay.
They told me, they said, well, we got it all on video. So we know you were just defending yourself. Had you just killed anybody, we couldn't have charged you with it.
Okay.
But we won't charge you for this gun because you weren't supposed to have no gun. You were convicted.
Possession of a firearm by a felon.
Yeah, that's what happened. So I went back and did 5.5 more years because somebody tried to kill me, bro. Now, do that even sound like justice? You feel me? But that's what happened. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay, so I guess, you know, and it's funny. I just did a show earlier, and I was going through some of my chances, and the guy was like, "At what point did you kind of wake up, you know, after being shot or after being this?" So was that, you know, you being shot and going to prison at the same time for being shot? Was that sort of like a final wake up call for you, or you know, God pulling your chain and be like, "Yo, man." You know,
yeah, it was, man. It was both. It was both. Because, you know, first I had to answer the question, do you care whether you live or die? Do you really care?
Okay.
I had to answer that question within myself.
Okay.
And once I got to answer that question, which was yes, I care, you know. And, you know, when I went to prison played that factor because I had already been to prison and did a lot of time. You know, man, it's the last place I wanted to be. You know, in my mind, I'd rather died in the street, man. You feel me? I'd rather died in the street, man, than to come back here. And so it's like, you know, when I talk to God, I ask God questions like, I ain't just let me die in the street. That would have been better for me. You know, I ain't want to come back here. You know, I don't like living like this. You know, and you know, God talked back. God talked back to me. You know, people know God conversate with, and it just want my time. So I had to live with it. You know, he said, I got something for you. You know, I got something it's something you must do. You know, but he ain't tell me what that was. So I always wondered what it was. Well, what I got to do, you know?
Yeah. Well, me? Yeah. You
know, that was
me, right?
I knew what it was. So, you know, I ain't want to come back out and go back to living like I was. That almost got me killed. And I ain't want to come back out and that will lead me back to prison. But at the same time, I ain't want to be no peasant.
A peasant. Did you say a peasant?
I did say that. I did say that. That's how I look at it.
You're right.
I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I got, you know, I'm gonna tell you a story. What happened to me in prison, right?
All right, we got 3 minutes, so go ahead.
3 minutes. Okay, so I was at Craven, right? My case analyst. You understand this terminology. My case analyst called me down there. She pulled up my, you got an 86% in psychology? She said, what you doing in prison? So I started telling her, you know, man, they gave me drug choice. She said, no, I ain't talking about your chores. I'm asking you, why are you here? She said, I didn't even make 86% in psychology. She said, why are you in prison? And, you know, I was so dumbfounded, bro. That's my word. I looked at just like an idiot in front of that lady. Because I'm like, what? Tell me, what, I'm smart and shit? You know, what are you saying? You know? Yeah. That's what she said, bro. But I guess this wraps up the show.
Nah. We got 3 more minutes on this segment. We got the last 20 minutes.
Yeah. So
was that like a wake up call right there? You said you got an 86% in psychology. Was that a class that they were given in prison?
Yeah, it's called the outreach program.
Okay. So you started
Prison escape. And so I went through the UNC of Chapel Hill and took psychology.
Okay.
Now, only reason I chose to take that is because it was another guy on my block taking it. And I used to see him in his book, right? And in my mind, that's got to be some hard stuff to study. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And it made me feel inferior, kind of like, and I don't like that feeling.
Okay.
It was like a challenge.
Okay.
For me.
Stepped up
if
to
he
the
can
challenge.
study, I can study. Yeah, so I just took it just to prove to myself that I could take it and pass. That's it. That's the only reason I took psychology, bro. I ain't know nothing about it then.
And so, but also you mentioned
that's one of the best sciences in the world you can study, bro. All 95% of all undergraduates study psychology.
Yeah, I studied psychology too. Yeah, I studied child psychology. It was about 3. So I was just so attracted to it because I just wanted to know how the mind thinks and why we do certain things and why people do certain things and what factors cause people to do everything. So I definitely I love the study of the mind, and
and behaviors, bro.
Yeah,
just out there behaviors too.
Yeah, definitely, man. So yeah, we got about 30 more seconds on this segment. We're gonna come back for our last 20-minute segment. Here with my guest Everett Mcnair. We're gonna hear more about the final steps of his transition, and also how he has come and the things that he is doing now with his business, helping designers, artists, entrepreneurs, even has helped me in some aspects and gave me ideas on how to run my business. So we're going to be right back. We're here, 106.9 Awesome Radio. We'll be right back with you.
AURN News.
I'm Ebony McMorris. A new EPA report is out with startling information and details the devastating effects climate change has had on racial and ethnic minority communities. Key findings of the report include Black and African American individuals are 34% more likely to currently live in areas with the highest projected increase in child asthma diagnosis, 40% more likely to currently live in areas with the highest projected increase in extreme temperature-related deaths. Hispanics and Latinos have high participation in weather-exposed industries. With regards to transportation, Hispanic and Latino individuals are about 50% more likely to currently live in areas with the highest estimated increases in traffic delays due to increases in coastal flooding. Now, this analysis goes hand in hand with the administration's Justice 40 initiative that is working to ensure at least 40% of climate and clean energy investments go to disadvantaged communities. For AURN News, I'm Ebony McMorris.
Hello, everybody. This is Wendy Key, and you're listening to Awesome Radio, 106.9 WBISLP.
Can you save me?
And we are back here, 106.9 FM WBISLP. Awesome Radio. We're here on the last segment of the U-Turn Show. My special, innovative, introspective guest, Mr. Everett Mcnair. And we were on the point where, you started kind of using your mind on the last stint in prison. And you mentioned before we were talking about your love before the interview even started, about how you started reading various types of books as well. So how did that play a part in your planning, to not return to prison?
Well, like I said, I knew I had to change, man. So when I went in that last time, some of them programs that was there, I went on and applied myself and took them, And I ain't know how they were going to benefit me, but I got into them programs. And one of them was called the program that helps with our cognitive thinking behaviors, And I got in that program, and you wouldn't believe, you would think I'm lying, but the man that taught the program was a minister. He was a minister. And he would tell us that. He'd be like, I'm a minister in the streets. I'm a real minister in the streets. But, I come in here and, I chose to teach this program and go through what I go through with y'all. And so we established relationships at first. At that, I was in a game program taking a Thinking for a Change program.
Okay.
And it was an interactive program. So they would allow us to come up to the front and act out some of our aggressions. They would have us work in the workbook and say, think about something that you did that you regret, and detail what it was, why you regret it, how it made you feel, and what you could do, and we had they would chose people to come up to the front. Some of it was like a play type. In a way, it all helped us mentally because it caused us to realize truths about ourselves that we never did. The way we think, how violent we could think at times, how immature we could think at times. So, we will go back to ourselves with a lot of things on our minds. It wasn't just something we did just to pass time. We did actually gain something from it.
You really participated and took what it's meant to do and used it for your benefit, which caused you to start drawing up plans for what you have doing now, right?
Right. So I'm in there.
Go ahead.
I knew I want to live comfortable. I ain't gonna be making this fast money no more. Then what am I gonna do? Because I'm not that factory dude. I'm not that fast food dude. Now, don't get me wrong. I have worked at Dewey Brothers. I have worked at McDonald's. Okay. But it's not me. It's just not me. So what am I going to do? I said, the only way I can still live comfortable is you got to start your own business. You got to become an entrepreneur. But I ain't know nothing about business. So I had to learn. So I started to learn. Now, before I went to college online, for small business and business management.
Okay.
But I had to drop out. I withdrew to take the plea bargain that they gave me.
Okay.
I had to withdraw. I didn't ever graduate from that. But I didn't stop my education. I continued it on the inside. And I actually gained ideas and developed concepts, which certified official was one of those concepts that I developed.
And certified official was basically the beginning of the clothing, the line that you designed. And I forgot, I had to apologize to my brother. I ain't wear my certified official Jesus shirt that he brought me, man. I had every intention to, so please forgive me, man. I was rushing. So but yeah, man, where did you get the name and the concept, man, and the just the innovative the innovation to to kind of move forward and design that concept and a logo and define the certified, the reason behind the name certified.
I was at Deuce Correction Facility right here in Goldsboro.
Okay.
So honor grade camp over the computer science class.
Okay.
So I got a computer terminal of my own and a desk of my own as the TA, the teacher's assistant.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there and I'm just playing on the computer all day. That's all I do, play on the computer. So instead of just be playing games or something on it, I'm actually being creative with it. And one of the class assignments was, to create, like we had to create like a promotional campaign of your own. I didn't do a clothing line. I did a movie then. I did like a movie coming soon. And that's what I got. That's when the certified official came to me in that class. And I first trademarked it in that year.
Okay.
This is 2012.
2012.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you get out and you start like I said. So you got out that last sentence in about 2017.
Right.
So, and actually it seemed like you hit the ground running, man, because I just remember out of nowhere, I kept seeing certified, certified,
Yeah.
certified.
You get out of prison. They used to always say, and it's true. They say if you get out without a plan, then you're just gonna come back, or even worse, you know. And I find that to be true. You got to have a plan getting out. You have to establish yourself a plan going out. You can't just go out. What you gonna do when you get out there? You got to know this beforehand.
So you had this plan laid out. Like everything I'm seeing today was laid out in your mind in visions, but also in steps. Steps you're gonna take. Like when I get out, I'm gonna trademark.
Yeah.
When I get
I
out,
get time with a lot of guys
sure.
from around the city, and you know, they'll tell you they used to see me at the tables, drawing my sketches, whatnot. If they came around me, we didn't discuss drugs, we didn't discuss the home city, we didn't discuss none of that stuff. We just positive thinking. You see what I'm saying? And too many come around me because of that. They shun me. They shun me because of it. You see what I'm saying? But I didn't care. I wanted solitude. I had my mind on.
Because lightness always repels
you
darkness.
See what I'm saying?
Darkness can't be around light. So you ain't doing nothing wrong.
Right.
So
I put that together. And when I got out, I put it down. I started the company and I basically just started my first website. And, I'm still learning. I'm still learning in both sectors. I didn't learn everything. I'm still learning. One thing I want to do is a crowdfunding campaign. I think that would be good for promotion. Yeah, I could have been done it, but I don't just want to do it. I want to do it with class. I like to do it with class. I mean, that's the way I was raised up. My parents instilled that in me.
So do you have any outside mentors that are kind of leading and guiding you and showing you different things that you have?
And one of my mentors whom I just met, Mr. Junior Jones L out of Fayetteville.
Okay.
So I met this man, and just in the course of I wouldn't even say a whole 24 hours, this man taught me so much just in having small talk with him. He's involved in a lot of things and come from, where I come from. So of course I'm gonna listen,
Was he said his name Julian Jones?
Junior Jones. He performed at my concert at the Paramount Theater this past Friday. He was the headliner.
Yeah. And so you eventually branched off. So you branched off from fashion into entertainment. What made you decide to once again, kind of foray into that aspect of business?
Well, actually, I got several business ventures I plan on starting up. I chose to do the fashion one first is because I felt like it was the cheapest to maintain as a startup.
Okay.
Why did I chose to do the music second? I'm gonna tell you. I don't know. That music right there, I'm gonna tell you, the music industry, man. God, man, you better have a plan going into that industry right there. It would take you down if you don't know what you're doing. You see what I'm saying?
It costs a lot these days, I guess, to get your music.
That was an egotistical play right there on my mind, because I think I did that egotistically.
What, the music thing?
You see what I'm saying? Not strictly. I shouldn't have done it. You see what I'm saying? I shouldn't have done that. But
so you didn't think it out all the way through. What you say?
I did it too early to be the music industry. I should have chose one of my other ventures. Like I should have went on into my autobiography, or I could have started with my publishing company and actually started publishing on that.
Yeah,
that's cheaper. But for some reason, I chose music. I know I chose music because I did a promotional video for my fashion label.
Okay.
And we did a video together, and I thought about it. Then it all came to me and say, look, you might as well start your label now and sign her as your first artist.
Okay.
So that's what I did. I don't know why I did it. Sometimes we do things and we don't know why we did it, bro. We just do it. You know what I'm saying?
So then you gotta you got a few more artists that I see. Now how do you find your talent, or do they come to you looking for you to help promote and establish their brand? You search for.
I found my second artist actually recording my first artist, you
Okay.
know, and my engineer is his father. And that's how I found him. And he just came to me one day and was like, "Hey man, I want you to listen to my music, man. I got some dope music." He came to me and Shaw Ramel, which is my first artist, and we was in the studio. And so we was like, "Yo, let us hear it." And everything we heard, we was liking. We was like, "Yeah." And so, you know, talked about it, we discussed it, and brought him into the fold. AAG Rob, he my newly signed artist. Shout out to AAG Rob. AAG Rock. Now, me and AAG Rock, we just were like basically verse on Facebook, DM each other initially. And I knew he was an artist. I was looking at him, you know what I'm saying? And I went with other artists and I reached out to him to work with them. I actually reached out to him to work with Shaw Mill. And he came, and the next thing you know, he wanted to be certified too. So I was feeling his vibe, and a whole lot of other people feel his vibe. So I went on and signed him. And bro just went in the studio and just said, I'm gonna show you what I can do. Came out with a song. Song that did close to 6,000 views on YouTube. It's about to hit 6,000 views. He just got off a 9-city tour. You know, we did the show right here in Paramount. That Goldsboro, we did Goldsboro. That was only, yeah, man, he got a lot going on.
Yeah,
that brother right there got a lot going on. And I'm looking at some other artists too. I don't like to let cats out the bag, but I'm looking at some other things. You know what I'm saying?
So how hard is it to, kind of promote, because there are so many artists? Because I look at it and I see you moving, and I see you moving and shaking. But how hard is it to put, to actually kind of break through or promote when there's so many artists, kind of doing music, these days, so many platforms, everybody, is doing something. So
I'm gonna tell you about music. Man, listen, on the outside looking in, right? You always think music to be one thing. But once you get into music, once you get involved in the industry on the business aspect, you see the industry for what it really is. And you know and understand the industry and what the music is. Now, what people think the music business is, it ain't even that. It's a whole other level. But to learn this level, you got to first be conscious to its existence, elevate to that level. You see what I'm saying? So it's a process. You learn the ins and outs of the business. You see what I'm saying? That's going to take a few years, and for you to make and establish the relationships that you need to establish and develop the next words that need to be developed. It takes time. You're not going to do that overnight. That takes time.
Yeah.
But in due time, your marketing is going to be right. You see what I'm saying? You're going to have that proper marketing, and you're going to have the proper connection friends as your next forward. And that's what you're going to do. But you got to be dedicated. You see what I'm saying? You got to be loyal.
Yeah, so we got a few more minutes. So where do you see yourself at in the 5 years? And everybody asks this question. I know it's kind of like a click question, but if you could give us a preview, where do you see yourself at as far as your businesses and yourself and your visions?
In 5 years, right? In 5 years, certified official music gonna be on the Billboard.
Okay, all right, you heard it here first.
I ain't saying we're gonna be number 10. I'm saying we're gonna be on the Billboard. We might be number 80 on the Billboard, but we gonna be on there. See what I'm saying? That's success. That's an accomplishment. At least we on there. Right now, we're gonna try to go to the top. You see what I'm saying? But you gotta do it in levels. So yeah, in 5 years, we're gonna be on the Billboard, and certified official music gonna be a household name.
Okay. And what would you say to the young guys, who just getting out of prison, or been through some tough times, or don't have the best thing, you don't want to work at, or those menial jobs, and
Well,
what do you say to guys who may have been through some of your trials and tribulations? What would you say to them to help them kind of overcome and be successful?
man, look, all the work I do is for that cause. You see what I'm saying? One of the businesses that I have mapped out while I was in prison was a nonprofit, that I'm devising. It's called A Way Out. His stories. And one of the most common stories you hear is, man, I don't know nothing else. I do what I do because I don't know nothing else. Okay, now I'm not going to say that's wholly some BS. It's truth to it because I come from there. So I know it's truth to it. Okay, but now, if you knew another way, would you take that way?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I call it way out because I'm like, okay, let me get my ones up. And then when these brothers coming out of prison in these situations, you see, let me help these brothers because it's a lot of talent in prison, bro. Man, you will find some of the onlyest talent on the penitentiary yard. I'm talking about painters,
I've seen it.
Ball player, all of it.
Mathematicians, business minds.
That's a whole that's a whole money bank right there. If you can take that talent, that energy right there, that positive energy, and tunnel it and channel it and control it. You see what I'm saying? That's what we need to do, and that's what A Way Out focuses on. You see what I'm saying?
So we got about 30 left, right? So tell the audience, tell the audience, where they can, find your clothing merchandise, and also where they can, possibly book you or your artists, or find your entertainment services.
You can find the clothing merchandise at this time. We online. That's cmofashions.myshopify.com. Now we got a Facebook page, Facebook business page. You could go on Facebook business page and shop. So you can go right at Facebook. We're not on Instagram. I haven't connected it to the Instagram. CertifiedCorpNC.com. That's the music and fashions.
Okay, CertifiedCorpNC.com.
CertifiedCorpCorpNC.com.
Okay. Well, I certainly want to once again thank Mr. McNair for his, honesty, his candidness, and his introspective on, his situation, not only his situations, but so many situations that we hear about. Definitely want to commend you, my brother, for, all that you're doing, man. I wish you much success. Keep your foot to the pedal, and we definitely going to be working together soon. But I thank y'all for listening on our radio audience. Make sure y'all join us next week on the U-Turn Show. This is 106.9 Awesome Radio FM.
Lord, I need you to smile on me. Lord, I'm pleading. Tell me where you want me to go. I don't want to be right with you. And oh, Lord, I'm tired of going through.
Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we still on Facebook Live, man. If you want to dive into anything else, I definitely want to, like I said, man, pick your brain because, some of those ideas that you talked to me about, I still haven't, because it was you was giving me so many jewels. I still haven't followed through on them, man. But I definitely, plan on doing that. So, I know that you got a sound business mind. So, I don't know if anything else you want to know about that.
I'm gonna give everybody watching this, streaming this right now, a big morsel of knowledge, right?
Okay.
It ain't what you do, it's how you do it. You see what I'm saying? It's all about marketing. You see what I'm saying? It's all about marketing. Where you put your products and how you present your products. You see what I'm saying? You got to put them you got to introduce them to the right people, the right markets, and get them in the right places. You see what I'm saying? That takes time. It takes building. You see what I'm saying? You have to establish relationships. But once you have done that, I mean, that's all it takes is a network. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, you got sponsorships, you got all types of aspects that you can strategize from. You know, like I was talking about earlier, the crowdfunding campaign. Crowdfunding is a new and innovative way for startups to finance themselves than the old conventional ways like debt financing, uh, uh, angel investors, um, uh, VC investors. You know, crowdfunding is an online way of investing, and you have platforms that have, I'll say, networks of over 10 million Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and you present your product to them, you know, in the way that they want you to present it to them. And what they'll do is they'll allow you to run a campaign to their crowd, to their network.
Okay.
And if those in their network who like your product and like what you're doing and you want to see it prosper, they want it to excel, they're going to help you finance it in the forms of not investments, but in the forms of donations.
Yeah.
Donation.
The good brother Tyreek Nasheed just did a Indiegogo campaign for the Hidden History Museum. So I think he raised over $1 million in less than a month. Yeah, look it up.
And look, now that's his that's the money that the crowd has basically donated him
to build the museum
that told him he needed. You see what I'm saying? Because you have to state what the money's for. So, and it can't be nothing fraudulent. You see what I'm saying? They have investigative teams, things of that nature to investigate you. And so it can't be nothing fraudulent. You know, and you have to use that money exactly for what you say that you're using it for. You know? And so everything is proper here, you know, on the up and up. And but it's a platform that startups like myself, entrepreneurs like myself, innovators like myself can use, you know, for marketing, promotion, you see what I'm saying, and for financing. You know, it's a good platform because you can even sell from that platform. So, you know, it's a lot of incentive in it. And so I say, you know, I was always going to do one of them, and we probably do that this year coming up.
Okay.
We got the look we want now for it. You see, before we wasn't ready yet. So I'm always thinking ahead. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I said, okay, well, we're not ready yet. And I actually put the brakes on that for about a whole year. So we're ready now. I think we can do it in a better formatted way. Like the campaigns I see on there, and it'll be better presented. You know.
So you've been researching the campaigns that's already up there.
So I went up there and just looked at some, more particularly those at that time. That's what I wanted to do. Put my clothing up there. I didn't have the music yet, and man, I found one campaign, and I sat back and studied this campaign from beginning to end. And all the girl did, she came up with a name. Okay, and it was a female clothing line called Girls, GIRL with 3 Z's on the end.
Okay,
only had tank tops, hats. They did have some 2-piece legging outfits. They did, but that was like the only thing outside of the tank tops and hats. And man, I'm telling you, she used that woman empowerment pitch. Man, and the way she did the campaign, oh man, yeah, her campaign probably is still floating right now. So that made me want to really do it. Then I said, well, look, if that's all she got, and I got this, so can I even double that? I say, yeah, because we don't promote certified official as urban, wholly urban, or as wholly pop. You see what I'm saying? It's urban, but it's not wholly urban. It's urban pop. Okay. Because, some of my designs, like the stoner, you would think a lot of our people will rock that. You would think. But guess what? We get stone, but when it comes to stone apparel, that's not us really. That's the Euros, the Europeans rocking that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, when I sell that product, bro, and I'm telling you, I'm doing about 25 to 30 units every month on the stoner alone, SEs and caps. Okay. When I'm selling that, those are mostly and largely my consumers, the Europeans. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. For that product, because it's a pop, it's more of that's my whole point. It's more of a pop design that they like, as opposed to being something we like.
Yeah. You got to market that's another. You got to market to everybody. The more people who you can reach, of course, the more you sell. The more people you input. So definitely, man, I commend you on that, man. So I'm gonna be looking forward, man, to everything you got going on, man. We ain't gonna hold you too long, cause I know you probably got an early meet tomorrow.
You say what now?
I said I ain't gonna. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I said I ain't gonna hold you too long, man. I said I'm gonna be looking forward to what I see coming out from you, man, and how I support you.
Look, I got a meeting, man. I got a consultation tomorrow with a marketing firm out of LA. Man, look, they just did major work with some major artists and were telling me about it. Blown away to just even be working with these people, bro.
Yeah.
Real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
On the way. That's a step for me, man.
Yeah, that's what the grind gets you though. You know what I'm saying? It's going out there every day promoting your brand on all platforms. Don't think I don't see you. I don't notice you, bro. So, man, like I said, the best of success, man. We can go ahead and shut it down tonight. But
shut it down.
Yeah, we're gonna do another one, soon, man. But like I said, I appreciate you for taking the time out to do it, and
and thanks for having me, man. Like I said, I wanted to do the show.
Yeah, we're gonna do. Like I said, I see us doing it again in the future, man. We're gonna set something else up, man, and hopefully we can finally get to work on that documentary. Within maybe beginning of the year. So I'm gonna put that out there. Beginning of the year, but we'll talk.
Might be sooner than you think, Rick. Like I say, I'm steady establishing relationships. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I got something a whole new that.
Just you know what?
And ain't even. We can put it together.
All right, just let me know, bro.
And it's gonna be official, bro.
Certified official. Peace, man. I thank all y'all for joining us too on Facebook Live, man. I appreciate y'all for checking out the shows, and make sure y'all check us out next week, man. Peace.
So what, we logging off?